Hello, I'm Deanna Herron, host of the Deanna Herron Podcast Show. Have you ever wanted to do something bold, like start a business, write a book, or go for your dream job? This show was created for women just like you who want to be bold, shine bright with grace. My goal is to educate you, inspire you, and empower you with ideas that can transform your life. Be inspired by the Deanna Herron Podcast Show at deannaherron.net. Hello and welcome to the Deanna Herron Podcast Show. This is Deanna Herron, your host. Super excited to be with you on this Tuesday. Happy Tuesday in June, everyone. Today I'm excited to share with you a little story that I want to bring you back to when you were a little girl, a little boy. And so if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to last week's podcast, go back and take a listen. I share my journey as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to add on to that on this podcast. So I want you to take just a few minutes. And sometimes this is a little bit hard to do, but I want you to take just a few minutes and I'm going to walk you through just how you were as a little girl, as a little boy. And so I want you to think about your first amazing memory that you had as a child. And I'm going to tell you, when I think about that, I can actually see myself and what I was doing. I'm laughing. I'm playing in this little mini kitchen that we had in the backyard. And it was some kind of a grass type hut that my mother had made for me. It was like a little girl's house, but it was grass and it was the coolest thing. We had a little kitchen. I had a refrigerator. I had a stove. And when I think about this particular time, I'm wearing a blue dress and it has what I see today, the ugliest lace on top of the dress, but I'm sure back then it was gorgeous. And I am just playing and I'm giggling and I'm laughing and I am free and I feel like there's not a care in the world. When you think about yourself as a child, what do you remember? Do you remember the laughing? Do you remember the playing? Do you remember waking up and having not a care in the world, but you were excited for your day? You were excited to go out and play some more, giggle some more, find your friends, run around the neighborhood, etc. Do you remember those times? Now I want you to remember what your childhood was like when you were dreaming about what you wanted to be in the future. And I'm going to take you back to pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, first grade, when we were asked by our teachers, what is it that you want to be when you grow up? What is it that you want to be when you grow up? A lot of us said teachers, right? Because that teacher was super influential in our life. They made such an impact. They were life breathers. They made us feel like we were uber important. What was it that you said that when you want to grow up, you wanted to be a blank? I want you to think about that. When I was a little girl, 6 years old, I wanted to be in medicine. Weird, right? I wanted to be in medicine. That was my dream. And you know why that was my dream? Because I had this desire to help other people. That was my dream. That's what I wanted. What did you dream about? And are you living that today? Because what you had in your mind then, you can create today. So let's talk about that. I want to invite you back to that dream state of really dreaming big, creating possibilities in your life. When you were little, you had no idea what it was going to take to be a teacher. I had no idea what it was going to take to be in medicine. I just knew I could do it. And do you know why I knew I could do it? Because I hadn't had anybody tell me I couldn't up until that point. So I don't know who has told you that you couldn't, but today I'm going to tell you that you can. And I'm going to walk you through some odds that I had against me as I was building my dream life. because chances are you feel like you have some odds that are against you that are keeping you from living the life that you are created to live. And so let's go back to how you were dreaming as a child. Sometimes when we grow up and we start to have responsibilities and we allow the box of society to tell us who we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to look like, how we're supposed to act, how we're not supposed to act. You guys, a lot of times those dreams are stifled. And so we're going to go back to that dream state, that dream world. And I'm going to tell you today that what you dreamt about is still possible. And I'm going to walk you through that. So, what is it that you want? So, if you are really to create your life by design, what is it that you really, really want? What is it that you dream about? What is it that you think is possible for you, but you've kind of put it on the back burner over the last several years, maybe the last decade, maybe since you were 6 years old? Let's go back to what's possible, because I'm going to tell you it's possible. Whatever it is that you dream about is possible. Do you want to travel? It's possible. Do you want to be able to give back big? It's possible. Do you want to drive your dream car? Do you want to have a dream home? Do you have it visualized in your mind? What is it that you really want? And what's your vehicle to do that? So, 22 years ago, when I started my journey as an entrepreneur, I'm going to tell you, I had some things that were stacked up against me. My background was in medicine. I had created that dream that I'd always had as a little girl. I was practicing medicine. I was able to spend quality time with people and breathing life into them and helping them in a very unique way. But now there was something more out there, and I knew there was. And but if you look at my background in medicine, it had nothing to do with my future as an entrepreneur. So, where are you right now? Are you are you a teacher, but you feel like you want to write a book? Are you doing something right now, but you want to switch and do something different, but you don't know how to make that switch? It's possible, you guys, because when I jumped into entrepreneurship, there were several things that if you looked at my life, you're like, no way. There's no way. There's no way she can do that. And there were people on the outside telling me that I couldn't. And I chose to believe in me. So here are the things that were stacked up against me. I had no skills in sales. I was practicing medicine, for goodness sake. I wasn't selling a product. However, I was selling myself every single day. As a physician's assistant, there were so many times when people would say, is the doctor coming in? Because they were not familiar with who I was and what I could do as a PA. As a PA, we are able to treat, diagnose, and prescribe. We work under a physician's license, but there were so many people who did not know my skill level. And you guys, that's going to be the same with you. There are going to be people out there who doubt your skill level and whatever it is that you want to do, wherever it is that you want to go, wherever it is that you want to become and add more value to people. There will be people who will doubt your skill level. I doubted my skill level. I didn't have skills in sales. I had no time to invest in my future. I didn't think. I was burning candles at both ends, to be quite honest. And I know young moms, you can truly identify with what I'm saying. I literally fell in bed at the end of the night exhausted, and then I would hit that snooze button 3 or 4 times just for 9 more minutes of sleep. I was exhausted. I really felt like I had no time to invest. So that was the second thing that I quote had against me. I had huge debt because of my education. And so thinking about going into another business, another journey that I knew nothing about, that I wasn't educated about, that I didn't get a degree in, that was a little bit scary. So I had a lot of debt going into becoming an entrepreneur. I had a 3-month old, a 3-year-old, and a husband that traveled. So if you looked at my life, I was working 50 hours a week in medicine. I was taking care of a 3-month old. I was taking care of a 3-year-old. I have an amazing bonus daughter that I was given when I married my husband. And so I took care of her as well. My husband traveled. I had no family in my town. So, how in the world was I going to take care of my kids, build a business, and practice medicine? I didn't know how. That was stacked up against me. When I started my business as an entrepreneur, I know you probably can't visualize this, but there was no social media and there was no cell phone. So, what I had to do to build a business is I had to do it from my home and I had to do it from a phone that had a cord attached to the wall. I couldn't do my business on the go. It had to be in my home, no computer, with a phone attached to the wall. So I want you to imagine that. That was stacked against me. I know there are so many people who are like, I don't even know how you did it. And I don't even know how I did it. The sixth thing that I had stacked against me is that I'm very much an introvert. Can you believe that? Very much an introvert. And what that means is I love people. I 100% love people. I love being social, but my energy, I get my energy in stillness. I get my energy when I'm alone. That is how I recharge. So I'm very much an introvert. Can you identify with any of the above? With any of the above, I had six things that were stacked against me, six circumstances that were stacked against my future. But I'm going to tell you this. I had two choices. The choices where I could continue to live the life that I was living and continue to get what I was getting. And that was exhaustion. That was no time freedom. And that was seeing my kids barely 1 hour a day by the time I got off work. So that was the first choice. The second choice that I had is I could look beyond my circumstances that were stacked against me and focus on the possibilities of what I was dreaming about, you guys. And so I want to invite you today, instead of saying I can't, I want you to say I must. I must. Instead of saying someday, I want you to say today. Instead of saying someday, maybe I'll start a business. Someday, maybe I'll write a book. Someday, maybe I'll have a podcast. Someday, I want you to choose today. Because when it looks like things are stacked up against you, I want you to know that it is still possible. Because if I was able to do it, I know you can too. It just takes the ability to work in the nooks and crannies for your dream. I worked in the nooks and crannies of my day for my future reality, and you can too. So if I kept doing what I was doing, you guys, I was going to keep getting what I was getting. And I didn't like what that looked like in 5 years. I didn't like what that looked like in 10 years. I could imagine myself being exhausted with a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. So I imagined my future 10 years down the road, and my 3-month-old was going to be 10 and my 3-year-old was going to be 13. And I didn't like the way that that looked. I didn't like the fact that if I didn't make some changes today, that I wasn't going to be involved in their future. And I definitely wasn't involved in their present because I was working so many hours. So, you guys, I invite you to take away the word someday, and I want you to choose today. Work today for your future dream, the thing that you've always been dreaming about. Stop looking at what is stacked against you and believe in the possibilities of what's to come. Because I can tell you what's to come in your future is amazing. You just have to step into it. You just have to choose to do it today. Dream, my friend. Dream. There is endless possibilities for your life. And so don't settle for what you're getting today. Dream. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast and this amazing community that's been created. I'm so grateful each and every day that I am able to speak to you guys. I'm grateful each and every day that I was put in this place at this particular time. If you would love to reach out to me, I would love to hear from you. You can go to my Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Deanna Herron. Send me a private message. I hear from many of you and it just fills my heart. I hear what you're going through. You tell me what you want to hear. And I love breathing life into you and I love speaking to you. So send me a message. If you would like to be a part of a private Facebook group, you will be the first to know when my book comes out. You can go to my website, deannaherron.net, and just click on that little Facebook icon, and it will take you to Deanna's Diamonds, and I will accept your request. This is a group of amazing women who are striving to be the best versions of themselves, just doing life day to day. We encourage each other, we lift each other up, and we're giving each other high fives along this journey. So I'd love for you to be a part of that. As always, please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. And if this has added value to you, it would mean the world to me if you would share it with your family and friends. God bless you. Have an awesome Tuesday, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Take care, everyone.